What's up, guys? So, I wanted to finally get this stream going that I said that I would attempt to do last night, but as you can see, I absolutely did not get to it last night. But I decided that I am going to tackle two topics in one. I'm going to be talking about Thanksgiving and talking about Black Friday, since they are right next to each other. And it's interesting that on a Saturday, I am talking about a holiday that took place on Thursday and an event that took place on a Friday. But whatever. So let's start off with Thanksgiving. I guess I should once again say what I did during my Thanksgiving, and that was just me attending a little gathering, close people, and we had a good time. But for some reason, I thought that maybe the conversation of, say, what does Thanksgiving mean to you? Uh, would I come up? But for some reason it didn't, which I was looking forward to that. But anyways, other topics were discussed. I hear that part of the main fun of Thanksgiving is since a lot of people gather who you don't get to see a lot, then you are supposed to just sit there and talk and pretty much the table conversation. And how do you even determine what topics are important or which ones aren't, which topics are permissible and which ones aren't? Because at least if you're in the United States, and I know other countries have stuff going on, but you don't really want to choose a topic that's going to be awkward or make people uncomfortable or worked up. So I would imagine that most people would say that politics are a big no-no. But but anyways, so Thanksgiving, when I was a kid, I always looked forward to it because I would have a few days off from school, because the first semester for some reason was always more difficult than the second semester, probably because you just finished summer and you were off, so you haven't really warmed up to having your gears grinding for school. It's like, okay, you're still thinking about the summer and how much you miss it and how not ready for schoolwork you are. But anyways, by second semester, maybe the eagerness of this is the last stretch makes you focus better. But I always enjoy Thanksgiving because my grandmother, to me, her cooking was legendary. So that was the most delicious meal of the year. And just as I am a glutton in present day era, I was an even more of a mega glutton as a kid. So to have a holiday that's designated for that, which is you eat like a beast, it was exciting for me. But when it comes to the historical aspect of it, I have never really had it clear. It's something that intentionally the school system doesn't really go over, and if they do go over it, they really tend to sugarcoat the matter. It's like our school system tends to be pretty, what can I say, it doesn't really dwell on the harsh stuff. And I feel like that's why a lot of people may be sensitive these days. You're not getting exposed to the reality of the world at a young age. And then when you're an adult and you start hearing stories and seeing things that are pretty like repulsive or something, you just cannot handle it. So when it comes to Thanksgiving, I'm not an expert on the topic, but I do know that it has a pretty messed up history, actually. And pretty much to give you a very overly simplistic rundown of what I do know about it. So, okay, you had people who they were called the Pilgrims, I believe. And they were pretty much irritated about their lives in a little place called England. And they decided, okay, I am tired of being persecuted for my religion, so I am going to embark on a voyage to a different land and then start a new life over there. Okay, no big deal. I mean, when you think about it, everyone at some point in their lives they have done something similar. You leave your hometown because everyone's hometown seems to be shitty to where you cannot imagine a successful life if you stay there. So you yourself become someone who lives a nomadic life. You just go out and search for what fulfills you and makes you happy. So in the old days, the people's mentality were a whole lot different. So I cannot even imagine how I would think like that. But anyways, you want to practice a religion, and where you live, you're not allowed to, so you go somewhere else and try to start over. But the problem with going somewhere else is that in that somewhere else, that land already is occupied. It's like you're driving, you see an apartment, you think it's cute, and you're like, I want to live there. But although there are residents in that apartment, you decide to not respect that and you try to invade that. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's pretty messed up. If someone tried to do that to me right now, I would have a big issue with that. I would have a big problem with that. So I'm guessing that back then, the folks who were here, like the natives, they were actually pretty welcoming from what I understand. So it's like, okay, they see this group of people just arrive in their shores, never seen them before, and then they are pretty hospitable. They help you get through the harshness of the weather, particularly the winter. And supposedly, Thanksgiving is supposed to be the time of gratitude for those folks who helped you survive nature's challenges, the harshness of winters and all that. But for some reason, in this celebration that you're having, where you're harvesting your success and all that and eating deliciously, you did not invite the very people who made your survival, or should I say invasion, possible. So that's one thing that when I was reading about it, I felt some kind of way about, because it's like these people saved your lives and you are not even thanking them directly. So to call this holiday Thanksgiving back then, it would have been super awkward because it's like, okay, well, why are we crediting ourselves with our success when we would have absolutely died had it not been for the intervention of the natives? So, that's a pretty hypocritical start, but I guess these people had their agenda already. So, anyways, at some point, something happened, and there was this event where a lot of people died, places were burned down, and it was also the spread of disease that these settlers brought that ended up ruining the lives of the natives. But for some reason, we never talk about that when we are talking about Thanksgiving. So basically, we are celebrating the fact that some people who were actually helping complete strangers make it in this land, they ended up getting invaded, getting murdered, having their homes destroyed, having their legacies destroyed, and everything. And for some reason, we don't talk about that. Why do we not talk about that? Why did we suddenly have this mentality of forget about the past and let's just start all over? And this never happened. Thanksgiving is all about getting together with family. It's a national holiday. It's a legal holiday, which means that usually places pay you a little more for working on that day. The banks are closed and all that, so there is absolutely nothing evil about it. We got good deals. We can make food affordable for you. We make feasts affordable and all that. But of course, in modern days, because of capitalism, we think of it as, oh, of course, companies are trying to make money. And it's rather nice that there is officially a day in the calendar that you can be like, you know what? I can be I guess depending on your career, I'm guaranteed to have off on that day. So I am going to make plans to travel and see my loved ones who I otherwise wouldn't see because I don't have enough paid time off or whatever it is that hinders you from seeing your loved ones more often given that they live far away. So, anyways, I always looked at it as well, if at least I can get a day off, then cool. But when I think about it, I cannot really care much more for this holiday because it doesn't really do anything for me except make me more stressed out given the fact that I work in retail. So, of course, the traffic is going to increase and stress is going to increase as a worker, and my life is going to be a little bit unpleasant. But at the same time, I am gaining uh, financially because I'm getting paid at a somewhat better rate. So there's nothing to complain. It seems like this is pretty much covering the surface of, okay, while you are suffering, we are going to sort of give you benefits behind that. Okay. But still, we're not talking about how this started. Still, why do we celebrate Thanksgiving? Why do we maintain such a tradition? Like, why does it have to be the turkey? Why does it have to be the cranberries? Which, by the way, you guys, please agree with me. You have no choice that the people who stuff their turkeys with cranberries are the real monsters in society. There's no arguing with that. But anyways, so why does it gotta be all that? Why do you gotta have the colors? Why do you have to have, these specific ingredients? I get it that we really don't see much of turkeys any other time of the year, and it would be pretty awkward to just be cooking a whole turkey and not have anyone coming over because not everyone has the time off to be doing all that. But I'm just saying, I'm someone who's not a traditionalist, and I guess it also doesn't help that my family is not really here. Like, I don't see them often. I only see my mom, and my mom definitely does not follow traditions. So I'm just saying, why not take a moment to just be like, you know what? What the hell am I doing? Why am I participating in this holiday? Since everyone does it, why do I feel compelled to do what everyone else is doing? My turkey was better, my turkey was bigger, which, of course, not people really aren't talking like that, but I almost feel like we're all competing against each other for who posts the best stuff on social media about their holidays. And we really do not sit there to really think about the origin of things, what happened to our critical thinking. I feel like if you were genuinely focused and just more informed about what you do and the significance behind it, I would hope that if you have any kind of feelings, you would actually opt for skipping this kind of a holiday because if you look at the historical context of it, it's a pretty terrible thing. It's a pretty bad thing. So why do we still hold this tradition? Why do we have such a hard time breaking from traditions? I guess if you want to have a holiday, how about if you just establish random days of the year as rest days or something? But of course, you have to give it a catchy name so that you can generate some kind of a revenue. That's the whole point of holidays. It's a commercial movement to aid companies a little bit at making money. But anyways, you guys, those are my thoughts on Thanksgiving. I really do not. When I hear the word Thanksgiving, I'm like, I give thanks every single day, like literally. So I also make sure that my loved ones know that I don't take them for granted and that I am very grateful for everything they do for me. But to actually be like, okay, out of the whole year, we need to make sure that we have a specific holiday in which we are making sure that we are praying at the dinner table and that we're going around the table going like, hey, dude, what are you grateful for? Ma'am, what are you thankful for? And stuff like that. It's pretty awkward. It's pretty corny to me. But anyways, okay, I'm gonna catch up with you guys before I move on to Black Friday, which I'm really excited about discussing. Uh, they're telling me to eat. You know what? Now that you mentioned that, I really haven't eaten a whole lot today. Maybe after the stream. But yeah, I spent a few hours out and about because I didn't want to just come into the house and be all locked up. I wanted to just go around, see what was happening. Um, did you cook any pies? No, I did not cook any pies. Usually, if I mess with pie, it's either it's given to me or I purchase it. But I was absolutely determined to not purchase a pie because usually them mugs go down within 2 days, and it's usually I am the sole consumer. And I am kind of concerned about what's happening with my health right now to be doing that. So I said, how about if I keep myself out of trouble by not placing the temptation in my house, you know. So I'm trying to be a little more responsible on that. Oh, and cool gloves. Oh, thanks a lot. I remember when mom got these. She got a pair and she got me a pair. I like white. I don't have a lot of white things, but they also have this thing that you can sort of, and then the thumb also has a thingamajigger. Oh, this has to be an accessory stream. But yeah, thanks. I like winter just because it lets me wear gloves. But did you guys know that I'm actually a glove fanatic? I don't talk about it a lot. But anyways, yeah, if I could, I would buy them in every single color. But anyways, I'm glad you like my gloves. We don't have Thanksgiving in England. Of course you don't. Which is probably for the best if we took days off on the anniversary of every death filled event we were responsible for. We would never go to work. Okay. Well, I'm so glad that someone is keeping it real out there, you know? Yeah. Admit it. Y'all messed up. Well, I don't know. But that's funny. That if we took days off on the anniversary of every death field event we were responsible for. Oh God, yeah. Why would you do that to Turkey? Well, my issue is the fact that Toiki is supposed to be, since it's fleshy. Usually, anything fleshy that I have is salty and herby. So why the hell would you put something sweet in it? And like, especially if it has a saucy consistency, what are you doing? I know that barbecue sauce is sweet, but it has a smokiness to it. Now, don't talk to me about, but Zam, that's why you smoke cranberries. I have never heard of smoked cranberries. Why are you putting like fruit right there with chicken, meat, flesh, bird, poultry, turkey? Like, you know, like to me, chicken is similar to turkey, but of course it's distinguishable. But but seriously, why do you do that? Why? Why? If it were separate, I would not have a problem with it. But you know, like the traditional herb stuffing, that stuff is excellent. I don't know if I like that better than the turkey. Sometimes I feel like I like the stuffing better than the turkey. But the cranberry stuff is an abomination, just like pork. That's the true abomination. That should be explicitly stated in the holy book. Because seriously, I tried a tiny, tiny, tiny bite of it just to see if I could find the appeal. Because, hello, sometimes there are unlikely pairs that actually turn out to be pretty good, like blends of flavors that somehow end up being surprisingly good. But no, no. And I haven't forgotten, guys, that I'm supposed to try a freaking Hawaiian pizza. But your girl cannot do pork, so I'm going to have to replace it with something. But I need to try pineapples on pizza because I feel like I did it as a kid, but I vaguely remember. But maybe I was so disgusted by the idea of it that I just skipped it altogether. But anyways, don't do that to turkey. What did turkey do to you for you to stuff it in that little red abomination known as cranberries? Do I like cranberries? See, I like cranberry juice. But you know that juices do not tend to be fair representatives of what the actual fruit tastes like because of additives. Like, why do you add sugar to something that is already naturally sweet, like fruits? Why do you need to include added sugars? But, anyways, that's the United States. That's the diet that we roll with. I don't like cranberries. You know what? I do not recall having cranberries like that. Um, I only have had it in the sauce form, but maybe I need to try the berry berry. I don't know. I would imagine that it's on the bitter side or sour side because that juice is freaking bitter as hell. And apparently people try to promote it as good for like urinary tract health, but I think I read something that says that there has never been a study that actually backs that up. So I don't drink it. My mom likes to drink it, but I don't mess with it. It's too ugh for me. It really is. Hi Zam. Hello Viking. Good to see you around here. And because of your long name, I have to expand your comment. Some traditions change in meaning over time as it is now. It's not a bad thing being thankful for what you have and such. See, when I think about it like that, as in, well, remember, set this time aside to be thankful for everything that you have and all your blessings and all that. It's not bad. I think it's something that we should all practice regularly. I just think it's awkward that you're trying to use this holiday as the day to do that when it has a pretty dark history. See what I mean? It's like, how about if you really want to have a holiday exclusively for that purpose, pick a different date and name it a little differently. But to be like, okay, Thanksgiving, it has been going on for many, 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 many years now, generations of people, and we still ain't discussing the real thing. It's troubling, in my opinion. Indians and pilgrims got along good though. See, at first they did, but for some reason, one of those groups decided that they wanted to just take over the other and do brutal stuff to the other group. Pretty messed up to treat the hand that helped you survive in a really terrible way. I'm just saying. How do you explain how nice applesauce is with pork then? Viking, I am not interested in discussing culinary ideas with you at this time. um, applesauce and pork. See, back in the day when I messed with pork, pork was just so incredibly salty on its own that I could not ponder adding anything sweet to it. Unless you're just trolling me and I'm falling for it because I'm gullible. But anyways, no, 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 no. Just no. Don't do that to protein packed stuff. I think the closest thing Britain has to Thanksgiving, I would say, is Christmas dinner. That's our annual turkey based Gorge Fest. What? Y'all eat turkey in Christmas? Actually, we did too. Actually, for us, it tends to be the ham, which I don't know why people love ham so much. I particularly don't, especially if it has a sweet taste to it. Like we have the so called Black Forest spiraled ham. That mess was disgusting. And then I don't know the name of this recipe, but I know that there's a recipe that calls for ham with pineapples, and I'm guessing someone decided to take that and throw it into a pizza. And I was like, I can give it a try. And I was a child, innocent, pure, young. And I tried that thing and I just straight up rejected it. And after that, I just said, never again am I mixing something that's sweet with something that's meaty. And then years later, I made the mistake of giving turkey and cranberries a chance, and it was an abomination. Oh man. What's up with Zam's left hand? Are you seeing something that I'm not? Was it on a previous video or is it right now? Or were you wondering, did I wave my left hand and you saw the gloves? I'm wearing gloves. In case you were not here earlier when I was showcasing them. Not trolling, it's a legit thing if you're not using gravy with it. Now, gravy. Now, if you're talking about gravy, I can do turkey and gravy. Like, turkey and gravy is fun. Especially if you have mashed potatoes as well and you decide to use some of that gravy in your mashed potatoes, which I know that your potatoes are supposed to have their own little gravy, but yeah, I can mess with that. Now you're talking. Now you're dancing to my tune. But that applesauce stuff and pork that you were talking about, no, 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 no. Moving on. Did you score any Black Friday deals? Well, yesterday, what happened yesterday? Okay, I got off work. I pretty much went straight home. I did not do any Black Friday shopping except today. I had a colleague talk to me about a place, a thrift store that I have never been to, and she told me about a month ago, and I wrote it down in my planner. And today I was looking at it. I was like, what do I need at home? Do I need toothpaste? Do I need soap? What do I need? The essentials. And I saw the name of the place that I had written down. And I was like, huh, since I'll be in that side of town, let me venture. And I went in there and I found three little things that I absolutely did not need, but I decided to just purchase. And then while I was out in my adventures, I decided, you know what? I think I need a new workout outfit. So I got undergarment, a shirt that is absolutely not for working out, but it's cool. And I also got, can you guys guess? You guys guess? Leggings to add to the 900 that I already have. Now, I don't have that many, but seriously, what is wrong with me? If there is a leggings rehab, I need it. Oh man. The pilgrims found the iron and copper and decided it was more important than the people. Gravy, mom, delicious. I meant, curses on the autocorrect. Oh my god, yeah, I have had a few blunders with autocorrect. And sometimes, especially on freaking Twitter, I post something and I notice my typo and I'm like, ah! So I end up deleting the whole thing because for some reason, that's the one website that does not believe on the edit button. We have been demanding it since day one and it's still not there. And we got 280 characters before we got the edit button. Does that make sense to anybody? Like, hello? Where are your priorities? No one was asking for such an extreme character count. And they were also at some point fooling around with the idea of 10,000 characters. And I'm like, dude, that's a Facebook post. I think you're forgetting what made Twitter Twitter in the first place. Anyways, we're not here to talk about Twitter. But yeah, Black Friday. Let me officially talk about it, share my thoughts on it. So, of course, Black Friday is the commercial movement of all commercial movements, and that is giving a boost to the already mighty and powerful corporations in America. And I guess the rest of the world is also doing their version of Black Friday, because have you guys been keeping track on those workers in Europe that are protesting or striking Amazon to the point that even managers have to work, and because they're demanding better working conditions and stuff. So, my thoughts on Black Friday are okay, this is the irony of it to me. The day before, you were at a gathering, unless you're lonely and sad and solitary. You were at a gathering, surrounded by your loved ones, talking about, hopefully, the good stuff going on in your life and how grateful you are for what you have. Hopefully, your values are health, a roof, and food, and love. Why not? And warmth, because god damn, it's cold around here. But the day after, your belly is still stuffed and you have barely digested anything that you have consumed because the gyms are closed and it's too cold outside, so you're opting for being a couch potato. And you are getting up very excited, very willing, maybe at 4 a.m., camping out or something at stores just to grab a deal, snag a deal on stuff that you really do not need. It's not an essential in life. You're trying to buy that flat screen TV despite you already having a nice quality TV of some sort. Like, if you have an analog TV, I think you could use an update. It's not obligatory, but I think a more modern one would be good. But it's just crazy to me that you do not show up to your shifts quite as hastily, but in the name of buying something at a somewhat discounted price, you are getting up early, camping out, like exposing yourself to the elements, to the cold ass weather, and you're also spending money that I'm pretty sure that if you're the average American, you don't have. So I look at this as the time of corporations, really. It's about their interests and not yours. It's just disguised as, oh, you get to spend a little less money and you get to buy more. It's like corporations deliberately give you all these deals and sales because they know that you're not going to be thinking about it critically. It's like, let's say that I go to Walmart and I say, I'm going to get me a new iPhone. And let's say that I can get it at a 50% off. Technically, I don't need it. In reality, I don't need it. I may want it because it's newer, it's nicer and whatnot. But if I were to use money that is not mine, aka credit, I'm going to be adding debt into my life, which I already have a few debts going on, like my car loan and all that stuff. Why do I need to do that to myself? Why do I have to be so materialistic inclined about buying stuff that I pretty much have a version of, but for some reason I am not satisfied with it and I'm thinking about upgrading? How about if you wait for something to actually break down on you so that you can consider replacing it? Because in the end, it almost feels like, okay, you buy a product, you use it for a few months, maybe a year, you discard it, and you're buying a new one already. It's like these companies have brainwashed you into thinking like that, thinking in a consumeristic way, because it's what benefits them, it's what makes their pockets deeper. But you yourself are indebted, and it's getting worse. You do not see an end to your debts, and you keep adding on it because you feel obliged to follow the tradition. You need to get, if applicable, your kids gifts. And let's say that they decide they want something that's not necessarily modest, you feel this obligation to do that. Why? You gotta be a responsible adult. If you cannot afford that, you shouldn't. Just because you have a credit card and it can hold all of that, it's not free of consequence. You have to pay all of that back with an interest. So basically, if I were to buy that phone today, I'm not going to be paying back exactly the price of what the phone costs today. It's going to be a percentage that I have to include. And usually, the way banks work is if you have a savings account, you get less than 1% interest in most cases. And then the APR on most of the loans definitely exceeds 5% or 10%, 12%. You know, like what is the interest that you're paying on your stuff? It's exceeding any income that you have through your bank via interest for you having a savings account with them. So why do you do that to yourself? If you're someone who's living paycheck to paycheck, you should not be thinking about Black Friday shopping. If you have all of your needs taken care of, if you have clothes, if you have shoes, if you have electronics already, you don't need to be thinking about upgrading at all. But there you are, going to these places really early in the morning, or if you are skipping the brick and mortar, whatever way of business, and instead shopping online, same thing. Why are you giving these people money, your hard earned money that you can hardly count on? Why do you keep giving it to them? Why do you keep giving your money to corporations instead of saving it or investing it in better ways, you know? Now, I'm a victim of it. I'm not going to sit here and act all righteous. It's like, you guys know that my cancer is my little sportswear. I know that I don't need that stuff, but am I going broke because of it? No. Usually, I wait a while to have, I call it money to just splurge. And it's usually a very small amount that I set aside. It's usually less than $30. I think the most I have ever given myself to just spoil myself with has been $35. I remember that vividly. And that was 2 years ago. And ever since, what I do is maybe every other week that I get paid, I may decide to just buy two little things or something if I notice something that I cannot stop thinking about. But that does not affect me at all because I'm not spending more than $20 on clothes. So I think that thinking about the things that I actually want versus what I need, it helps me stay under control because my way of thinking and going about life is my needs versus my wants. Until my needs are taken care of, there are no wants. But unfortunately, a lot of people, what I keep hearing about and seeing and reading about, is that they say my wants come before my needs. And your needs, you obtain them in the form of, say, getting yourself in debt. You have drained your money, like your savings account. Sometimes people get into that just to buy or do a big celebration or something. And then that's when it comes back to bite you because you're like, oh my God, where did all my money go? And then you're thinking, oh, but tax season is right there. That's going to take care of me. Well, have you been noticing that each year you seem to be getting less and less in your tax returns? I know I do. But it really depends on what you're doing. Not everyone's situation is the same. You could be filing jointly, like if you're married, that makes a difference. If you have kids, that definitely makes a difference. It seems like by you having a child, it's like everything is just to your advantage when it comes to stuff like that because they're minors. So you're automatically perceived as someone who's defenseless. But tax returns are not eternal. So just because you see this lump sum arriving into your account doesn't mean that you suddenly have money to just burn through and just spend. See what I mean? So I think that's the trap that people fall into, and companies know that. They know that if they time stuff just right, you are going to be psychologically, you'll have an inclination for making bad decisions financially. And it also doesn't help that our education system doesn't really teach us money management, and especially not how to invest in stuff that's going to give you more financial stability. They don't want you to know that stuff. A person who has a strong financial status is someone who cannot be controlled, is someone who is powerful. So they don't like that stuff. They like for you to be stupid. They like for you to be gullible. They like for you to be easily manipulated so that you can keep giving your money to them. So that's what I'm saying, guys. That's just my opinion. I do not like to participate in any of that stuff because they're I look at life as it's a big psychological game, and sometimes I fall into traps myself, but all I gotta do is tell myself, you know what? What am I doing? What is wrong with me? I need to come back to reality. Because when you're bombarded by it constantly, advertisements, billboards, the sponsored tweets, sponsored videos, sponsored everything. Everything is a huge advertisement. Everything these days is all about someone trying to sell something. So it needs to come from you. If you want to live a little less stressed about this, it needs to come from you that you don't feel so materialistic during this time of the year. It's tempting because, I mean, we all have that spirit in us that we want nice things and new things, and it's exciting to spend money and bring stuff into your house. But again, just ask yourself, how much do you actually need out of the stuff that you find yourself wanting? And maybe that's a way for you to just chill and maybe not spend so much during these seasons. But anyways, it's not for everybody. So but anyways, that's my opinion on Black Friday. I understand that it's all about giving companies money. They look for that extra boost, and I just try to not be a part of it because it's not a healthy habit. I like to have my money working to make my life more comfortable as opposed to given the appearance that I live in luxury. See what I mean? And I feel like sometimes people go out and buy things to impress their social circles. Like, oh my God, look at my new kicks. Oh my God, look at my new coat. Look at my new phone. Or, people always talk about that. Like, yeah, I bought a new car and this and that. Like, no, let people notice naturally. You don't have to be promoting your gains and stuff. But then again, that's just me. I don't like to have people noticing what I have or what I don't have. I like for them to notice other stuff about me. But, like I say, that's not for everybody. It's not the culture around here. So I feel like the culture around here is always when you meet someone, they immediately want to know specific details like, oh, where do you work? What do you do? Like, to me, that's a way of trying to find out how much you have. And I think people like that can be pretty toxic. So the holidays to me feel like a toxic time of the year because not everyone is thinking. I see people driving like fools. The other night there was an accident really close to my house that involved four cars, and there were all kinds of fire trucks and police cars, and I'm like, no, 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 no. Don't need to be going out that way. And there's also the people who are distracted. I'm over there running a checkout, and you're talking on the phone, and you do not hear the fucking machine telling you that it's done with the transaction, and it sits there beeping at you, and you're ignoring it. How do you do that? But I just sit there very patiently smiling because I'm focused on the task at hand, but you're too occupied with your social situation. Somebody could walk by and completely snag the cash off your wallet and you won't even notice. Do you think that is a good way to be living? Like you're a zombie, you're not aware of what's around you because you're in this little bubble. I don't want to live like that. But anyways, guys, that's uh part one of what I think about Black Friday. There's more to come, but I'm going to catch up with the comments. Let's see. It was voted higher in the need before we got the extra characters. Exactly. Yeah. Twitter be Twitter be tripping. Can you show those undergarments you bought? No, just kidding. That reminds me, when did these come? I think 2014. Yeah, because I feel that was around the time we moved to our. No, these came when we were living in our old apartment. So yeah, 2014. Some areas in the US are protesting Amazon building. California, I think it was, irrespective of the jobs being generated in that area. I know Amazon got a new headquarters. I think it's in Virginia. I haven't been keeping track, but yeah, it's funny when Amazon announced that they were looking for the city to be the home of their second headquarters, everyone was freaking out. It's like, okay, you're going to bring all these so-called 50,000 jobs, but that means that someone somewhere out there is going to suffer, and it's usually small businesses. But I mean, on the note of small businesses, I think as consumers, we need to make more educated investments. And what I mean by that is, let's face it, this was done on purpose. Most of us are in a situation to where we don't have the money that small businesses are usually asking for. Usually, small businesses need to charge more for something that you can get at another place for cheaper. And you have to make ends meet. You have to make your money last you a while. So it's pretty much impossible to be giving your money, and it feels silly to be spending extra on someone, or sorry, somewhere where you could be getting it for cheaper. That's the trap. And these people know that. But at the same time, if you can, I would say support someone directly. Like some of my clothes I have actually purchased directly from people. I'm like, oh yeah, I like that top. If you ever find yourself wanting to get rid of it, I'll buy it from you. So, in a sense, that's a way of supporting someone. It's not officially a business, but you're helping them make money, so it is a business. But yeah, that's the trap. Most people are poor and they're going to go to places that are offering bargains. And unfortunately, family run places do not often offer that stuff because they're smaller, their capital is significantly smaller. They don't have capital to be experimenting with marketing and giving promotions, discounts, and all that because that money is going to come back based on the traffic that it draws. So, but, anyways, I just hope that to anyone who's struggling out there, I just hope that everything goes well for you because I know how difficult it is, but if we are aware that stuff doesn't have to be this way, especially in this country, that's when we need to figure out what steps we're going to take so that we can improve our lives. Because I feel like a lot of it is we are living our lives without thinking about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and the consequences of it. So you should know that the way that you live, if you're not satisfied, that's not the way things have to be. But you need to be thinking about what kinds of decisions you need to be making to put yourself in a better position. And that just because that road is difficult doesn't mean that you cannot do it. Just make sure that you're not distracted or wasting your money. I feel like that's the trap people fall for. Immediate gratification. Oh, this is the thing that's going to make me happy right now, so I am going to indulge in it. And then worry about the consequences later. So it's all human psychology. And these people know that. I mean, they have experts. They gather, have meetings, knowing this stuff. And that's why year after year after year, stuff remains the same. But I feel like most people are starting to catch that, get a wind of it, and they're like, okay, I'm going to be home this holiday season. I'm not going shopping on Black Friday. And I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, that some people were opting for staying at home. Very few number of people, but at least they're starting to be a little more mindful about it. You can sometimes get good deals on flat screen TVs on BF. I'm sitting here playing my splurge item, my current number one base while watching the stream. Awesome! I can see the base that I borrowed to supposedly make a video with it. It's going to be the stupidest video ever, but I just want to show you guys some of the stuff that I just notice sometimes. And it's missing a string. Can I even call that a string? It's metallic. But anyways, I don't know how to play it. I think I have a learning disability for any instrument that has strings in it. But you enjoy yourself. I know how awesome it is to get your hands on a new instrument. I'll never forget the first night I had my keyboard at my house. I played that mug all night long. It's like I got home at around 8 o'clock and I went to bed at 4:12 a.m. that night or that morning. Yeah. That's what video games used to do to me as a kid, except that I had a curfew that I absolutely had to obey, but anyways, those times were awesome. I just wish I had more nights like that. Compulsive shopping can kill you. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. First it was Black Friday, then Small Business Saturday, then Cyber Monday. Yeah. Do you see that? The terms, the words, the catchy phrases, the key terms. Support your small business, support this and that. And they do that on purpose. They know that you're on the mode of spending money. So, to make you feel better about your splurges, how about if you call it Small Business Saturday? And support your favorite person, da 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 da, or shop local. It's still spending money, it's still stimulating the economy. It may not go to the people who are mainly promoting stuff like big companies, but money is still being spent. Uncle Sam likes to see all that money just moving. But but you know what? Now that I mention Uncle Sam, something that I wonder is, can you imagine if we all collectively decided to stop paying our taxes? Now, I am not trying to condone breaking the law, right? But you cannot really jail millions of people like that. So, how about if we stop paying taxes so that we can actually get to keep our freaking money that we work for? Because, guys, if I could keep my work paycheck just free of that nonsense tax, I would be living even more comfortably than I am now. Which, don't get me wrong, I am in no way living a luxurious life, but But I'm just saying, I would not need to worry about not being able to afford a good health plan, like a health insurance. I would be able to get health insurance through my job. And I understand that our plans are actually pretty good. And if my car needs repairs or maintenance, I don't need to be sweating about gathering the money before I can take it to the shop and stuff like that. So, like these fools who are running the country, you already have a lot of money. You do not need so much more. An obscene amount of money when you don't even respond for my interests. You don't even, what is it? Support my interests. Why do I have to be funding your paycheck like that? Let me keep a little more. Let me keep what I actually earned. See what I mean? But anyways, I mean, in order for something like that to work, it has to be a big number of people just collectively working on this. Because one person doing it, it's like, you're going to sink alone and you will not accomplish anything. But yeah, like just stop paying your freaking taxes. See what happens. But but of course, these people already have money. They already have businesses of their own. So the impact to them would be relatively minimal. It's not like that's their sole source of income. Like for most of us, that's our daytime jobs is our only source of income. So it's not like we have, while we are not working, money is still being made. See what I mean? Like, I guess the best way to think about it is when I post a video and you guys watch it later, I may make a cent or two sometimes. So it's like, cool. While I am at a daytime job, I have my small little business on the side making 2 cents per day, or something like that. It's exciting to think of the possibility of growing that into something that can bring a little extra revenue. That's how these fools live, except they have it in a greater scale. They could have restaurants, they could have clothing lines, they could, whatever it is, whatever business they have, they live so well and comfortably because they had resources. Why can we not live like that either? But you know there's an agenda. There's an agenda. That's crazy. Let's see. What is a super chat? Are you trying to trick me or are you legitimately asking? Well, if you're legitimately asking, super chat becomes enabled after you exceed 1,000 subs and 4,000 hours of being viewed for a year. And basically, the perk of it is that you can send money to the creator, um, like whoever is streaming. And what else? Is there another perk? That's all I know, really. Like the first time someone mentioned super chat to me, I was not super chat eligible, but they told me to make sure that when I became eligible that I activated it so that if people feel like sending money, they can send money. And I'm like, there's no way that that's ever going to work for me because what I do is not worth anything. And then I became surprised when some of you guys just would feel generous. And I'm like, oh my God, this person was right. This was a user from many months ago. I don't remember their name, but I was like, ain't nobody ever going to give me anything, but I have been surprised. Like, I just wonder what makes someone just give someone that they don't know money, but hey, it's the season to be grateful, so, I always appreciate it. But but what can I say? People can spend money however they please. So if you want to give it to someone who you don't know, then just do it. Isn't that what we do every day? Like you go to the grocery store of your choice and you don't know the person who runs that personally, but you're still giving them your money. That's a little more indirect, whereas with super chat it's like I own this channel, so it's like, here you go. I'm going to give you some money for your time. And I'm like, what? How do you even put a price tag on that? But, anyways, to those of you who have given me your time and attention and even a few extra bucks, I really hope that it gave you a warm feeling right here because it sure did for me. But, anyways. Uh, Super chat is a comment you pay for as a donation to that person streaming. Yeah. Oh yeah, Viking explained that to me so much better. Sexy, thanks. He decided to use the first part of Viking's name. That's funny. And Jordan says, "Hi, hello, good to see you around here again." So, anyways, guys, to I guess as a concluding statement about Thanksgiving and Black Friday, unless you can afford it and you genuinely feel happy by living the spender life, you go right for it. I mean, you can do with your money whatever you please. If you have a lot of money, then of course, just spend it away. But for those of us who are in a more of a challenged social condition, be careful. Do not allow yourself to be like controlled, brainwashed into buying stuff just because you're saving a few dimes. I don't think that down the line that's very healthy for you because when I think about it, you're going to end up with such a cluttery home that you are going to want to get rid of stuff. I don't know if you're like me, like the fact that I have an obscene amount of clothes right now. Leggings are literally not a problem. In fact, I have a shortage of leggings. I am concerned about my legging stability. But when it comes to everything else, there is a lot that I am planning to get rid of, and especially sandals. I know that I am never going to wear those, so I am planning on getting rid of that. Just do not buy stuff just for the sake of just owning crap. I know that some places you can turn stuff in to get credit at that store or something, and when you think about it, the credit is even too miserable to be worth it. But if it makes you happy, then you do it. But I just think that we need to be more careful about what we do with our money. And ouch. Given that we are not in a super stable condition or situation as a country, especially the older you get, make sure that you're saving money because it's looking pretty bad out here, especially for young people. Like they keep talking about social security not being there and whatnot, and I'm like, why are you talking about cutting social security when social security does not contribute to the deficit as far as I'm concerned? Like, oh yeah, we're going to cut back on these benefits so that the deficit can be taken care of. The deficit is never going to be paid off. We know that. But we like to give this illusion that we're working on it. Like, no, no, leave my money alone. As a matter of fact, don't take so much from me when you already have a lot and you're not even doing your job right. See what I mean? But I mean, what can I say? I don't like to sound like I'm one of those people who's like whatever about things, but I don't feel like I am armed enough to be able to really make it change. But anyways, at least I like to get the conversation going. I know someone out there would love to have this conversation with someone, but they don't seem to find the right person, or they get treated a certain type of way, or they say, that topic literally makes me uncomfortable. And that's the problem. We keep avoiding it, avoiding it, avoiding it because it's awful, but if we keep avoiding our problems, we're not exactly working on resolving it. So I feel like we should just actively work on whatever is hindering us as opposed to just turning a blind eye on it and hoping that it'll just fix itself like your body's immune system. You get sick and it just does its thing and you feel better again. This stuff doesn't work like that. You have to actively work on making your situation better. So if you're clueless, just start talking to people. A lot of people can give you good ideas. Even the so-called crazy people, they can inspire you and lead you in the right direction. So, but anyways, that's all I'm saying. Nice seeing you. Blessings to you. I appreciate that. Black Friday is so crazy. I hate wasting money. Is it true YouTube takes 45% of all payments in Super Chat? From what I understand, they take 30%. And the reason I say it's 30%, it's because one time I had a stream where someone sent me $10, and when I saw my earnings on analytics, it only said that I made $7 and whatever cents other views gave me. So, I mean, it makes sense because in order for me to make money, I am using an intermedium that someone else established. So they want to get their cut for having this service existing to where I can make money. So it's kind of like banks and the interests, but at least I'm making more than half of it. If they were taking, like, I don't know, 60%, then I would have a problem. I would be like, guys, don't even worry about it. It's not worth it. Don't worry. I'm not dying. But at least it's, and once again, I'm someone who doesn't even take this seriously, so I don't feel like I even deserve to be making money like that on this. Sometimes I feel like I'm a fraud and you guys are just giving money to me just cuz, and I'm like, "No, don't do that cuz I feel like I haven't earned it." But but talking strictly about business, I understand why they need to take a percentage off. It's like if you use any websites where you sell stuff, they keep 20% sometimes. You know, it costs money to keep a website running. And although YouTube is not necessarily broke because they have Google dollars, and I'm pretty sure that Google is also not very broke. Yeah, you want to frown at it, but what can I say? It feels weird for me to be discussing this because I never really think about it. It's like, okay, I guess I can look at it as it's a business that I run, but there is no stability in this whatsoever. So it's not like I'm envisioning this as the way that I am going to stop being a corporate slave, if you if you want to call it that, you know. I'm not sure what I would do, but at least this lets me meet people, and eventually I might find that one user who's going to talk the words of wisdom or something. Or maybe I'll share a story of something that happened to me that helped me, and one of you guys is going to hear it and it'll help you fix your life. If one of you guys ever feels like your day is better just because you listen to something I had to say, to me, that's a victory. I feel like in that case, me spending time doing this was actually worth it more than just for me. Because I like doing this for the sake of it's a form of escaping, and also I genuinely like to do this. But if it benefits someone besides myself, then I'm happy. You know, that is really, really fulfilling. But anyways, um let's see, where am I at? It's 30%, Steve. Yeah, that saving money is a good thing, and rich people blowing their money like crazy. Well, they have the resources, so of course they're going to give themselves lavish lifestyles and show how much they waste or how much money they can just burn because they don't have to worry about it like we do. It's like, I don't know if this is going to make sense to you guys, so I'm going to try to phrase it as senseful as I can, but for me, one of the advantages of having very little is that you focus on the little bit that you have and you cherish it so much. It's like even on the days that I have a few extra bucks and I'm like, yeah, I can maybe eat something a little fancy. When I do take myself somewhere and spoil myself, I just feel so grateful. Like, this is something that does not happen to me very often. I don't get to go on a self date all the time to my favorite restaurant or something, or whatever it is that's going on that I really want and I cannot get because my bank account screams that I don't do it. Pretty much depriving myself of certain pleasures in life. But when the time comes, it's like you feel excited about it. You're so grateful. Whereas rich people, I feel like at some point, because they have a lot of money, the planet suddenly becomes really small for them. Like, let's say that, let me see, what example can I give? Okay, I can think of something. There is someone who I would love to see, but they live really, really, really far away, like far from my reach. Like, there is no way that I'll be able to see them on my own independent resources. If I ever were to have the opportunity to go out of this country to go visit them, I will feel so fulfilled and satisfied because I do not get to do that very often. So when the moment does arrive, I'm going to enjoy every single second. I am going to cherish every single second. Whereas when you're rich, you take that for granted and the excitement kind of leaves you. Like, I'll never forget the first time I went to a basketball game. I was like, wow, I'm not front row seat, but I am at an actual basketball game. And I'm like, I'm not really wild about it. I'm not super excited about it, but I was able to be there at the court watching my favorite sport live. So that's exciting. And I did that once. I've never done it again. And I remember that so vividly. Whereas if you have the privilege of going many times, the fun kind of disappears from it. See what I mean? So rich people, when they have their fancy stuff, like fancy cars, big houses, nothing wows them anymore. You're like a zombie. Because you have everything, it's like nothing impresses you. Whereas for me, when I get just one opportunity to do a little something that's out of my mundane and ordinary life, I feel so grateful about it. And all I want to do is just cherish the moment and just be grateful that it happened. See what I mean? Hopefully I made my point across. I don't feel like I've gotten to the point yet, but it's like sometimes I like to live with my current status because I feel like when I smile and have good times and laugh, I'm actually enjoying it for the true spirit of the moment and not say I am Mrs. So and so, I am an important figure. Everyone in my circle is laughing with me, but I am really not that funny. Whereas in my current status, I know that if people are around me, it's because they genuinely like me. They know how I live, they know what I have and don't have, and I feel like those people are being genuine. See what I mean? So, but anyways, that's all I wanted to say. So let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. Okay, Zamri, riches of gold belongs to you. Nothing wrong to be rich is a blessed thing. We're all going to make it. Fembra. I have never heard that one before, but I love it. Fembra. Abra. So if I gave you 1,000, they get 300. Yeah, yeah, just like that. Interesting. Yes, I have been there. Zam. Things that you really wanted, but sometimes you gotta wait or just have fun. And you know what? Sometimes when you're rich, it's like, okay, I wanna go on a trip to freaking, I don't know, Brazil or something. And you know that you can buy it and it's there and you're committed to catching your flight. And if you don't catch it, you can totally afford to lose that ticket. Whereas the average person is like, no, airline, you're messing up. So you better refund my money or something. Um, and because you don't get to go often, the excitement seems to be a little more pure. And when it's something that you can do, I feel like it loses its impact, you know? So I feel like rich people don't have a lot to look forward to, and that may give them an empty feeling somehow. I feel like that's how I would feel. If I knew that I could make life just work for me at the snap of my finger, I'm like, there's no build up. Like video games. You know that video games start you off with you don't have any items, your character doesn't have any strength, you don't have any, let's say Zelda, you don't have any gear, you don't have, say if you're playing Ocarina of Time, you don't have the warp songs that let you go from like one part of the map to the other end of the map in seconds. You have to progress, obtain your resources, and that's how you become powerful. Rich people are already there. Imagine if you started off a video game where all of your equipment was there, all of the quests were pretty much, you're ready to dive into them and you're prepared. How fun would that game be? I think it would be pretty lame. Like, yeah, you want to beat the game so that you can see how it ends. Like if you're like me, especially with Metal Gear, which the cinematics of it is what really attracted you, it would be very boring to start off with your character being all dope and just ready, as opposed to building the process of you created something. It took you time and effort and strategy and planning. Rich people, I feel like they don't really have to do that at some point. It's like you it's guaranteed that it's going to happen. Whereas when you don't have a lot of resources, it's like you're looking forward to it, and when it finally happens, it just has a different effect on you. I don't know. But then again, I've never had money like that, so maybe rich people can feel what I am describing whenever they experience something new for the first time, but I don't know. It is guaranteed for them that nothing is unobtainable for them. Whereas for us, you have to pick which thing is going to have the most impact on you. And you can only choose one thing. Whereas rich people can make room in their agenda for everything. What they don't have is enough time sometimes, so they have to arrange their schedule. But it's guaranteed that they can make it happen whenever they want to. Whereas when you don't have a lot of money, it's like, do I save up for the trip? Do I save up for the computer? Do I save up for the new car? You have to make those decisions, and that's when you have to define what your values are. And I feel like if there's anyone out there who feels lost in this world, it's because they have a conflict with all those things and they don't know how to decide. Where am I at? Wow, that's amazing. I have never been in a basketball game before. You are doing better than me. Does your dad shower you with gifts on Christmas? If not, he should. He doesn't. There is no daddy in this girl's picture. And nah, I'm not, I don't want to sound like I'm mad. I'm not mad. I got over it. But yeah, I am one of those daddy-less girls. We don't talk about that because we already talked about it. But we can talk about it at some point, but we're not going to talk about it. She didn't grow up with a dad. Nope, not at all. Yes, Zamri, it's important to smile. People out there having it hard. I saw this homeless man sleeping in the freeway. It hurts my feelings. Yeah, I've seen. Do you guys feel like you've seen more people homeless? And if you don't feel like you're seeing more people homeless, do you think it's because we have more shelters for them? Or are we really improving their lives to where they're not on the streets anymore? Or are they being detained? Which one is it? I feel like I feel like I am seeing more homeless people, but of course it varies during the seasons because during the winter, I guess you have more doors open to you because of the weather, but during the summer, this last summer, definitely, I saw more people begging in the streets more than I ever have. So, interesting. I guess I should look into that. I know I made a stream like this, but never really dwelt on it from this angle. I am playing Uncharted 4 online right now. Hey Zam, hello. Good to see you. Even if I don't get to hold your attention because of Uncharted, this is Uncharted territory. When I get rich, I would love to build hospital schools and make my own movie company and go see all teams in sports. Hmm. I know that a long time ago I made a video about if I had a lot of money, how would I spend it or how would I invest it? Um, but if I had capital like that, what kind of business would I have? See, the thing about it is if I'm going to have a business, I want for it to benefit people for real. Like, I don't want for it to be something that we already are overly saturated with. I would like for it to be something that people, it's very difficult for people to get to. So I would say that hospitals is definitely in my mind because I would love to create a hospital that's nonprofit because I know there's a lot of people who need medical attention and they don't get it because they would rather not spend money like that. Like a medical bill can really set you back in this freaking country. And a lot of people are deciding to not go get themselves checked out, and then when the situation gets really bad, it could have been addressed in its early stages and then it becomes more complicated to deal with because the condition has evolved and gotten worse. But yeah, definitely a non-profit hospital would be awesome. And because I like the medical field anyway, it's something that I feel like I would be genuinely interested in and put effort into it. Um, you guys know that I'm a glutton, so I would definitely think about a restaurant, but I would like different kinds of restaurants. You know how suddenly everyone is allergic to gluten? Well, let's have a very gluten free restaurant. I know there are places that have menus like that, but no one is really, it's not really popular yet. Like for the people who have a ton of allergies too, like I'm allergic to dairy, I'm allergic to life. It's like let's have a restaurant that's just for you. So I'm not sure how I would handle that, but one of my dream restaurants would be a freaking buffet of like Mexican food. Can we please have a buffet where there's just burritos and nachos and tacos and all that stuff? Why isn't there anything like that? We have Chinese buffets, we have Golden Corral, which I mean, it's a lot of stuff, but when you think about it, it's not really good quality, so eh, I like to stay away from it. Um, but yeah, just stuff that's useful for people. We are always going to be hungry. We are always going to get sick. And on the note of clothes, yes, we need clothes, but the world is not running out of clothes. I can tell you that much. We have so many thrift stores. We have so many online stores where you can sell clothing, like your own clothing, as opposed to donating it. We're not running out of clothes. We aren't. So anyways, that's one of my business ideas. And guys, I am going to breeze through the comments and call it a night because I gotta go. And I also am going to try to eat before I go to bed, but I don't want for it to get too late. But fortunately, your girl is off tomorrow. Today was day 5 of 5, and I will be crashing relatively soon. But yeah, just to not be rude, I'm going to catch up with all of y'all, and I will kindly dismiss myself by pushing my elevator button. Okay. La, 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 la. Rich people buy a game system for each room in the house, even the bathroom. Oh my God, yes, I feel like everyone who shows off their home or their mansion is like TVs and audio and movie theaters and elevators and all that. It's crazy. And is it me, or do you guys notice that people who have big houses often have the smallest ass families ever? It's like you're living by yourself with your one kid, maybe your spouse. But if you have such a big house, why aren't there many people living in it? It feels like a waste. And even if you do have people living in it, the people who are living with you have their own property. Someone else could be using that space. Just make up your mind as to where you're going to eat, to live. But you keep buying up all these places and pretty much gentrifying. That's just mean. Cheap people are not fun the way they cannot have no fun with nothing against them, just sad, worry, and spending anything. Zamri, we should make our own video game system, and video games would be so cool. I used to enjoy video games. I just don't play them much anymore. So sad people gotta buy pills, but without money, they don't help you. Yeah, sad indeed. But then again, how effective are pills? I am working on my own video game. Y'all stay tuned. That's good, Red. Mexican all you can eat sounds excellent. I love junk food and food like products, but I would like to eat better going forward. Everybody, let's start eating healthy. Yesterday, I bought me a celery bunch and carrots and hummus, and I am determined to lose all the weight that I have been putting on. Zam is going to get fit again. Thanks, Jordan. Enjoy your day off. Good. Eat tight. You're welcome, Red. Da, 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 da. All right, guys. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me and for being here with me and for me. And it's been fun. And yeah, I shall return soon enough. You guys take care. Have a good rest of your weekend.